Shut up and sit down.
I want to thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Cosplay Diary. Has been a little while since I've done one of these. Part of the reason for that is that I was involved in an auto accident. Now, I was fine. I wasn't really hurt, but the problem is that it did total the car, and then I had to go through a fairly long process of getting everything paid for through the insurance company, which took a lot longer than I wanted. Took a lot more of my time and my focus, so I haven't really been able to work on the cosplay as much as I wanted to. But I am back now, and today we are going to take a look at some work on my primary weapon for my splicer outfit, which is the hook. We are also going to take a little bit of a shopping trip, and I'll tell you about what I found while I was out there. So first off, let's go out to the shop and take a look at what we can do on the hook for our splicer outfit. Okay, so I talked to you before about how I was going to make the hook for my splicer outfit. So to do that, I've already shown you the plastic hook that I'm going to do some repainting on. On top of that, I also need to have a wooden handle for that. So in order to do that, we are going to go ahead and use the handle off of a plunger. Portion of it anyway. We're going to need to cut the top portion off of that. I've already marked where I want to make my cut. You can use anything to do this. You can use, a marker, a pencil, whatever, but I've kind of already started the process. Now, I will say this is much easier if you actually have a saw. Unfortunately, my workshop does not have a saw because I am poor, so I'm going to be going to get a saw at some point in the near future. For now, though, I'm going to try to use my Dremel. Dremel is a wonderful thing. It can do a multitude of things. The only problem is with this Dremel, you can tell that it's going to cause some problems cutting into this. But we're going to do the best that we can with it and see if we can go ahead and cut this handle off at the top using a Dremel. And it smells absolutely wonderful, I tell you. Now, while I'm working on this, I've also actually already painted one side of the hook itself. So the hook is going to just need to dry right now, and I'm going to continue working on this handle so that I have something to hold on to. If you have ever heard the right tool for the right job, this is one of those times. I am not using the right tool for this job. On the other hand, necessity is the mother of invention as well. Okay, so after working it over with the Dremel for a while, we do have this rough top that we want to get rid of. So we are going to continue to use the Dremel to help us fix this particular issue. So we want to change the head on the Dremel, assuming the Dremel wants to cooperate with me, which is a big assumption. Most things do not want to cooperate with me. But we will go ahead and remove that bit and put in our sander here. Make sure it's tight there. And then we're going to just go ahead and try to sand up this edge here. You know, I don't need something that's perfect. I just don't like that really, really rough edge that we had there. So now we've got the handle. The hook's going to go in between the fingers there, and I'll show you how we attach that a little bit later. Now, to attach the hook to the handle, you can see I drilled a hole about halfway through the handle and then ran a wood screw through that. The screw ended up splitting the back of the hook, so in order to cover that up, I plan to wrap the handle in some scrap leather and stain it for a more used look. I'm also going to be adding some blood splatters, which requires a little bit of paint, which leads me to the shopping session that I did. If you can take a look here, I have a list of the supplies that I needed to pick up, not only for this project, but to get started on the gun project for the Ironwood costume. So if you wondered how I came up with this list, I've got a couple links in the notes there telling you where I have found the walkthroughs that I had on making the props that I'm going to be working on. Of course, some of them are not exact replicas of what I'm looking to make, but having an instruction guide to kind of point you in the right direction on how to make these things is a nice thing. So I do highly recommend you check out both the videos there. What I was looking for on this particular list was a paper mask, paints. I need red, blue, brown, gold, and white, EVA foam, a glue gun, white modeling clay, heavy white cardstock, Mod Podge, which is kind of like this glue sealer stuff that you're going to put over the mask once you've got the clay on there, and a headband for the mask. Unfortunately, I did not find everything that I was looking for on this particular shopping trip. There were quite a few items that I was disappointed in either the quality of what I found or the price of the items when I found them there. The paper mask was the first thing that I took a look at. There were a few different options there, some of which looked like it would make it easier to actually construct the mask because the basics were there already. Unfortunately, I didn't like the material on this cat mask, so what I ended up doing, I kind of bypassed that and went with a more generic paper mask that I felt would be easier to work with, easier to make the adjustments. Plus, it was a little bit cheaper for me to use this. Then I went ahead and got the paints. The paints were only 79 cents per bottle, with the exception of the gold paint. The gold paint was $1.29, I believe. Of course, you know, the quality of the paint there was a little bit higher than the other stuff. But all in all, you had the mix of colors that you need that you're going to use to make your blood splatters a little bit later on. Also to use detail and definition to the mask later on. The EVA foam, I did not find what I was looking for. They did have a few options there. One was this roll that I found. I was not really happy with the thickness of that or the quality of it, and so I went ahead and I passed on that. I also passed on the thin sheets that I found, not because I didn't like the quality on those sheets, but the thickness of the sheets had me a little bit concerned. I actually honestly did not have a glue gun before this, and I knew I was going to need one, so I went ahead and picked that up. You know, those are relatively inexpensive as well. White modeling clay. The video that I used actually showed me that they were using a Crayola brand stuff, and since they actually had that in stock where I was shopping, I figured why not go ahead and get the stuff they used in the video. It looked to work well for them, so I wanted to go ahead and use that myself, and that was under $5 for the modeling clay. Heavy white cardstock is needed to make the ears on the mask. I don't know that I picked up a heavy enough stock, but I went ahead and picked it up anyway. Hopefully, once I get the clay on there, that's going to make up for it. But if it doesn't, then I'm only out, less than $1 on that one sheet of cardstock that I'm using. The Mod Podge, I actually found it in the store, but I was not prepared to pay $20 for the big bottle that they had there. I'm hoping to find a smaller bottle elsewhere. And then finally a headband I did not find anywhere either. So for that I'm going to have to do some searching around, maybe snag it from a mask that I've used previously. I'm sure I can find something elastic to help keep the mask on my head. But all of these are the supplies that I'm going to be using to make the mask, and it's also the start of what I'm going to be using to make General Ironwood's gun. So fortunately, none of this was terribly expensive. I think the shopping trip cost me less than $30 at Michael's. I only went to Michael's because it was close. You can choose whatever craft store you want, of course. But you can find a lot of this stuff there. I'm going to have to dig a little bit deeper to find the EVA foam that I'm looking for. So, I'll keep you in touch when I figure out the next steps on the cosplay. Hopefully you're enjoying what you're seeing, and if you have any questions, feel free to throw those in the comments. I'll be happy to answer whatever I can. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you will turn in next time.